Hello, welcome to Blackland, episode number 2. This episode is one of my favorites. Again, Blackland is a real estate video series that is based on giving black people some information and strategies and techniques to use to get more involved in the industry. And this series is leading up to a book that I'm going to be putting out in late November. So this episode again is going to be on principles of investing. A lot of times, the better investors have really good systems that they use to go about buying and selling real estate. And so I want to pass on a lot of that info, as much as I can that I know of, to you guys, and hopefully you can use it going forward. So we're going to get right into it. I have 8 kind of core principles that I noticed when I was a real estate salesperson, and also when I started investing myself. And some of those, all of these are actually really good, and I think that you guys will get a good handle of what they mean and how they should be used. Let's jump into rule number 1, which is location. Location is a commonly discussed topic in real estate. People know that they should buy in a good location, but what actually is a good location? So I want to touch on that, because location is actually relative to where you are. So within every city, you have locations that are kind of graded on a scale of A through D. So A location is your best location, and D is your worst location. That helps a little bit, but also, like, what is A, what is D? Like, how do you define those rankings, and what makes a location A, what makes a D location D? And for lack of kind of set definitions, it's more like what's the desirable versus what isn't. And to that end, it's kind of like, if you're in a location, you have the services are all kind of top notch. So your trash is picked up every other day. You have restaurants, you have dry cleaners, you have all the services that you would want. In D locations, you kind of don't have those. So trash pickup is like once a week, or you don't have great food options. And so there's also some economic and racial undertones that play into that as well. But just for the sake of this episode, we're just going to talk about that there's an A location and a D location. So if you're in Manhattan and your A location is, say, Upper West Side, you can have a D location in that area, which may be like Lower East Side, or maybe like, I don't know, East Harlem, or whatever it is, right? So, but if you're in East Harlem, there's really some great opportunities there, and great locations where you have a pocket that is really nice. So even within the scale, being in Manhattan, a D location is not the same thing as being in, say, Gary in Indiana, which has an A and a D location. So it just depends on what town you are in and how it lays out. So location is important, more so in the idea of, if you can identify locations that are actually going to be, that are on the uprise, that you see a potential for growth in, those are the locations that you want to buy. And it's not always the best thing to buy in a peak location just because it's a nice location. It may not have any more room to grow, so you might be in a location that's, say, a B, but that's all it can ever be, is a B. So you want to look at these surrounding factors. So an example is, in LA, I think the town is Inglewood, where the Los Angeles Rams are now building a stadium. So Inglewood, I think, would have been maybe like a C or a D location previously, but that's going to be bumped up to an A because of the stadium being there. So everything that you would need in that location, services, restaurants, businesses, opportunities, are all going to flow into that area, because now it's jumped up from a C location to an A location based off of an outside factor of a stadium being built there, which will boost that area's economy and make everything a little bit better, a lot better actually. So you can buy a location, you can buy into a location that's going to change, and that's kind of what you would want to do, is evaluate the opportunities that a specific location has, and that's how you are buying location. So that doesn't always mean that you buy the best location. It's that you evaluate what the location is and see where the upside is. So rule number one, golden rule of real estate, is location. Principle or core value number two, and this is the one that I like best, and I think I actually invented this, or I'm going to claim responsibility for it. I used to tell people who were investing and they didn't know what to buy. So say they had a home in the suburbs and they just wanted to invest in downtown Jersey City or Hoboken, or in Manhattan somewhere. I would say this to that person also. Say I'm a single person who's looking for my first purchase, and they have a little bit of money, but they want to figure out what's the best thing to do. So I would always say, my rule is small, best. Again, that's small, best. And what that means is that you want to buy the smallest property, so either condo, single family home, whatever it is. You want to buy the smallest one, and you want to buy it in the best neighborhood, in the best building or community, in the best area or city you can get. So what that looks like is, so I'll just use downtown Jersey City as an example, because I worked there for 4 years. So if they came to me and said, I want to buy a safe but a property that can grow, and so I would say you buy the best. You buy the smallest condo you can in the best building in the best neighborhood in Jersey City. So you cover those, the size, neighborhood, building, and city. So obviously, if they're looking at your Jersey City, it takes out the last best. But downtown is the best neighborhood in Jersey City. Just on value. It's not based off of the people or anything. Just the highest, the place that has the greatest value is downtown. So what I would say is that there's a few buildings at that point when I was in the game. Was Crystal Point, 77 Hudson, Sugar House, maybe, right? So, and there's other buildings that would be in that ballpark too, but. So let's just say if you're going to isolate it down to 77 Hudson and Crystal Point, and they're both these beautiful glass buildings that are 50 stories high or whatever. So being in those buildings themselves have a value which would tend to not be affected by much in the area, because they have everything almost within the building. So you would want to buy a studio in one of those buildings, and that would be the smallest unit in the best building, best neighborhood, best city, right? So that's the kind of rule I use, and you can use this anywhere, right? You buy the smallest in the best neighborhood, best building or / community in the best city. So you can go anywhere with that. You can use that in any city: Chicago, Cincinnati, Cleveland, wherever. They're all gonna have a better location that holds value better. So that's rule number 2, is small, best. And again, I'm claiming that rule is mine. I made it up. Number 3 is, and again, these are all rules or concepts that I create that I picked up from either people or I thought of myself after studying how people purchase. So this is kind of based off of my 14 years of experience in real estate sales. Number three is large down payment. And that one is kind of obvious, but it's one of the small things that people don't really understand is that if you want to have as much equity in the property as you can, so the down payment is important because the more you put down, the lower you are financing, which means you are less leveraged into the property. Now, obviously, you want to be leveraged because you aren't going to buy this thing cash, so you want to use financing to give you tax deductions, to so that you don't have to lay out as much cash, and you can put it in other areas that can create investments that have a return as well. But the down payment, a lot of times you can get FHA loans, which allow you to put 3.5% down. So, which is great because it allows an entry point for people who don't have a lot of money down. But no matter what your situation is, try and put down a little bit more because that way you're going to be further along into having higher equity. So if you have, say you have 100, let's say you have $25,000, and you know that you'll only need to use really $7,000 to put down on a house. Go ahead, and if it makes sense and you can afford to do it, put down 10,000 or 12,000, just so that you have more equity in it. Because as times shift, and so if the market goes up or goes down, and it becomes an emergency where you actually need to sell, you don't want to sell and have to pay. So the better your equity is, the safer it is, so that if you do sell and it happens to be a down market, that way you aren't going to get rinsed and actually have to pay out at closing. So I generally have seen people who have been really successful investors. They tend to put down more money than they have to, because the equity is a cushion if the market goes down and they absolutely have to sell at that point. If they're leaving the country, or if their money's tight and they just need to get out of the property. So you always want to put down as much as you can so that your equity is built up. So going on to number four is you have to be a patient investor or owner. And a lot of the times people view it as, how soon can I make money? So if I hold this for 3 years, what will be my return? And my position is always, you should keep the property for 5 years, and you don't refi to take out money. You refi to lower the interest rate. That's the only reason. So the theory is that in 5 years the market may go up, might go down, but it'll normalize in some sense, and there'll be an upward trajectory. So you don't really have to think about what's going to happen. Is it going to drop down? And 5 years is a short time. And if I look at our market here on the East Coast, or actually I guess nationwide, from 2008, which was kind of the peak of the market, to 2009, 10, 11, it was declining. Then 12, 13, 14, it started to pick up again. So in that 5 years, you could have seen a dip of 10%, but then when it came back up, and it would have been like plus say 3%, and then now it's that definitely over that. But on the point is, you wouldn't have lost in five years. It would have come to either level out or gain. So the key is to actually hold property as long as you can, minimum of five years. and just try and be patient and understand that real estate has cycles. They always go up and down. It's a fact of life. Like real estate will never stay up. It will never stay down. So it's a cycle. So you just have to understand it and be prepared for it. So just to go back through the first four, rule 1 is location. 2, small, best. 3, use large down payments. 4, keep for five years. And no refis to pull out money. You only refi to lower the interest rate. Going on to 5, this one is, I don't think it's mine, but again, it's one of those that I'm gonna claim. Number 5 is what I call the silver rule of real estate. Is that if you've been out looking at homes and you're, say, looking at 10 houses, say 5 to 10 in that range, and you don't see anything that you like, you're like, these aren't working. I don't like these homes. I want better. So at this point, we have to sit back and figure out. Either you need to adjust your requirements to match your budget, which means the things that you think you want and that you need in a house, they may not be in your budget. So you're going to have to either adjust your requirements to match your budget, or change your budget to match your requirements. So that means that if you are requiring, so say you're like, I want a two bedroom, two bath. I want it downtown Jersey City, 1,000 square feet, and I want to pay $450 for it. Well, that's likely not going to happen. So you're going to have to figure out, either you don't want a 2 bedroom, and you can deal with it with a 1, or you're going to have to decide that you need to increase your budget to match the idea that you need a 2 bedroom, two bath, 1,000 square feet, which is going to be considerably more than $450 in the market right now. So like, I doubt you may not even be able to get a 1 bedroom for that price now in Jersey City, downtown market. So again, if you're out and you're looking at homes, 5 to 10 homes, and you haven't found the spot, and you're like, I don't like what I'm seeing, then you have to really think, like, do I need everything that I'm asking for, or can I cut back on things which will allow me to stay in my budget, or I just got to increase the budget if I qualify for it, and then you can increase it and get what you want. But the two won't exist in the same plane. So either you're gonna have to adjust your requirements to match your budget, or adjust your budget to match your requirements. Rule number 6 is, this one's fun in my eyes, and it says the only worse time to buy a property than today is tomorrow. And what that means is, if you're second guessing, you're thinking about, whether I should or not, it's only going to be worse tomorrow. So, things are going to get increase in price. You're going to lose opportunities. There's going to be a house there that you could have bought today that you didn't because you're waiting, procrastinating, thinking about whether I should or not. So just, if you're going to do it, do it. Don't think too much about, is this the right time? Because there's never a right time. So just get out there, look at stuff, and buy it. Number 7 is, be consistent in your strategies. So whatever your methods are in this list, or even outside of this list, try and have a system that works for you, and stay within it. The biggest mistakes are made when people go outside of their system, and they make the decisions that don't line up with who they are in terms of their principles and core values. And that's kind of in life, that you want to be consistent to your system. So that's number 7. And number 8 is that it's just business, which is hard for people to take into account with real estate because it's so emotional. Like, it's a home that you really love, and you're like, this is my house. And so a lot of times your emotions factor in way more than they should. But at the end of the day, this is just business. They're numbers, dollar signs, periods. That's it. Like, as much as you would like to think, this is a home that I'm going to live in forever, and I had that. When I really took a look at it, it's like, this is just business. This is only a property. It's not people. So don't get too attached into this house or this condo or whatever it is. Like, just understand it's just business, which will help you make the decisions more logically and clearly, and that align more with your budget and your core value. So always remember that's just business. So those are my 8 key principles or core values for a successful investor. I'll go through them quick one time. 1, the golden rule is location. 2 is small, best. 3, use large down payments. 4, keep for 5 years and don't refi. 5 is the silver rule, which is either adjust your requirements or adjust your price. Number 6 is timing. The only worse time than today is tomorrow. 7 is be consistent. 8 is it's just business. So thanks for watching Blackland. Hope you got some info out of it. And we'll be back next week with episode number 3. I don't know what it is yet. I'm gonna look at the book, my book on my phone and figure out which chapter I want to jump to next. Because I think that this chapter is like chapter 9 in the book. But yeah, so thanks for watching again. This is the lead up to a book which I haven't titled yet. But this series is called Blackland, and it involves trying to help and train Black people to get involved in real estate. So thanks again. Signing off.